Can you hear me? Check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. I'm always so nervous when I'm coming onto a stream for fear that my audio is not coming through. My audio gremlins, they don't love me too much. It's 2:45 in the morning. It's really, really, really late here. It's the middle of the night. And I've been working hard all evening on a little project, and I have to run to the supermarket real quick to pick up some things. And thought I would just, I'm going to be busy for the next 48 hours. Loud and clear, says Photo Weenie. Hey, dude, nice to see you. For This is a stream for anybody who was on the stream I was on about 20 hours ago, where I was sort of panicking about a meeting that I was going to be having later in the day today, or I guess yesterday now. And I was invited by some interesting characters to come have coffee. And wow, it turned out to be a really, really awesome encounter and hangout. And my only regret is that I didn't take any photos of it because I should have taken some photos. I don't know what I I I said to myself on my way there. I got really excited. Okay, so here's what happened. Um, I got invited to hang out by this kind of like influential dude. This guy who's like at the top of his field. He's an artist, but he built a career making connections with people, and he, I guess, organized a hangout with his buddies, and it just so happened that the stars aligned that uh, they would be various musical buddies. And he thought, oh, I'll invite that guy Brian, who I know from a while back. I'll invite him along. And so he invited me, and he said, I know this is spur of the moment, but I'd love for you to come hang out. And these are the people who are going to be hanging out. And I said, okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to. And I looked these people up, and I was a little bit nervous on who they were. I wasn't quite totally sure who they were all going to be. And man, they were all freaking super cool people. Super, super cool people. One of them, I don't want to squander the trust that I was given to hang out with these guys, but one of the guys was the founder of a very prominent record store chain in Tokyo, which was very cool. I was felt very honored. And he knew about me. And it was so cool. I couldn't believe it. And and what's funny is that okay, it's not some big secret, but I went to they have a warehouse in Shinagawa, kind of in the warehouse district. And I met their social media guy, and he said, "Oh, I know you. I want to come. I want to know about you more. Why don't you come? Let's have a meeting." And I said, "Okay, great." He said, "Do you want to meet me at the store? Or do you want to meet me at our warehouse?" And I was like, "Meet you at the warehouse? Where's the warehouse?" And they were like, "Oh, it's down in Shinagawa. You should come down there and check it out." That's when I went down and saw like an airplane hangar's worth of records, and that's when my panic that Japan was, sending all its prized records overseas. I got really, but when I saw that giant collection, I was like, oh, there's plenty. There's plenty for all of us. There's no worry. I don't need to be worried about this anymore. But I pitched them an idea to celebrate their 24th anniversary, or excuse me, their 30th anniversary in 2024. And they didn't really go for it, unfortunately. And I didn't make my way to this big boss guy who I met today and who I got to re-pitch the idea to. And I can't even believe it. So I, I said, hey, by the way, I've been to your Shinagawa warehouse before. And he said, you have? And I said, yeah. And he said, when? And I said, oh, like a year and a half ago. I met the social media guy, and I came down there to talk about this idea that I had to collaborate with you guys. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, that was me. And he was like, oh, okay. And then I just got to talking to him, and he's a very cool cat. And like, we just had a lot to share. And he told me very candidly about the back story of the company and of the state of the business and what's going on. And it was really interesting to hear a little bit about the inner workings of a very prominent record store in Tokyo with a very big chunk of the market share, and a very cool cat. And he, bless his heart, he came there. Another guy who was there was a guy who is essentially like Storm Thurgeson of Japan. He's like the dude who led the workshop Moo. Well, I should walk that back a little bit. They did a lot of famous record album covers, including H.E. Otaki's fucking Niagara Moon, which is a hugely popular record, super, super popular record, among many other equally popular records. But when I saw that he did that one, I was like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it. I think I have that. I think I have it on a pair of socks. You know, I have this T-shirt on. It's like very, very iconic. And he was the dude. I met the other guy was the dude, and he's the music guy that hung out with Hosono. And on the back of Kazemon Romaji, the famous record with, the four that copied the Beatles, it's his house. It was his house that they're taking the picture in front of on the back jacket. And he had so many little interesting backstories about those days. And anyway, I got on the stream this morning because I didn't even know who I was going to be meeting today. And there was two other really cool cats, but anyway, three other actually. And there's all these old boys, all these old silver-haired foxes, and they were just like laid back and chill as fuck and all like slaying life and like really cool dudes. And I was just like, and bless them, they made me like a little bit of like the guest of honor. And because the hypnosis dude, Manabe-san, he was like, he lived in an American house in Japan during what do they call it? HQ, they call it GHQ, government, what do they call it? Yeah, GHQ times. GHQ times. Basically, the occupied times, I think he was like a little tiny boy. And he was in grade school, and he told me all these cool stories about how another American family moved to his neighborhood, and they lived in an American house that was commissioned by the government, and that it had they built like track housing in like Yoyogi Park, like in the central Tokyo where I hang out all the time. There was like American style of neighborhoods. And there was Washington Heights and Grant Heights and Johnson Heights and all these areas that are now have been sort of turned back over to the city of Tokyo. But and he lived in one of these houses, and one of the GHQ forces staff worker and his family lived in the neighborhood. And oh my God, Kevin, this is so crazy. And he befriended this American kid, and this is like a Japanese guy. I'm gonna guess he was born in like 40s. I'm gonna guess like he's born in like 46. It's like real true baby boomer, and. And he said that like there was an American kid who was his same age who lived like in the house next door, and he had like a Schwinn bicycle and a Gibson guitar, and he had like Life magazine. And what else did he say? He saw his first Stratocaster and his first and he had an acoustic Gibson guitar, and he said it was so beautiful, and cable knit sweaters and just this sort of like Norman Mailer scene, and he was so curious, and a pen pal, and he was like oh man, it's so interesting. And this guy like designed the fucking cover of Happy End's third album, their third and final album, not the first two. He scoffed at the first two. I was like, don't say that. I love these albums. He was like, this is shit work by one of his senpais, somebody who was older than him, and he thought it wasn't very like imaginative work, but I fucking love these albums. And anyway, he kind of had like these in Japan, like that was a thing. They were so influenced and they were so curious about America, and that's where all of this Coca-Cola and Levi's and Ford, and they wanted cars with like hood ornaments and steering wheels that had the, like, they were obsessed with this stuff. And the toys, the little rifles and the airplanes, and not like Thunderbird type stuff. I think probably even before that stuff. And like, blazers with like leather patches on the thing. It's just like, it's really interesting period of time. And they were dressing like this on college campuses, and they're wearing pennies in their penny loafers, and um and ball caps and all this stuff, and really, really forging a completely new visual vernacular of everything, not just fashion, but just like everything. And because I was American, and because these guys were so infatuated, like these guys, like he said that like some kids were really interested in like British culture and the Beatles, and some kids were really interested in like Buck Owens and country and western music and Johnny Cash and American culture. And he said that like the first time he heard the Beatles, he thought it was like um it was really, he said he thought it was like it was like British bluegrass. He scoffed at it. He was like, these guys aren't cool at all, Buck Owens is like Elvis. And it was just really interesting. But his girlfriend, his sister, what was it, his sister, I think his sister, he said that his sister was a crazy diehard Beatles fan. And when the Beatles came to Japan in 64, she scaled the hotel that they were in, and she fell down and like broke her arm and got in trouble with the hospital and the police. It was like great story, hilarious story. And they, because I was American, and because they were like, oh, he's like an American, like, oh, Kamiya-san said like, hey, I got this kid, he's coming. It was so funny. They're calling each other kun. They're like, Take-kun, Namiya-kun, Kamiya-kun. And they're all like these old guys, but they're calling them like, Timmy and Joey. And they're like calling them by these endearing little kid names, except they're like, 70s. And anyway, that because I'm like American, they brought all these American books, and they were like, we used to live in these American track housing, and like, I brought a book because I knew you were going to be here, and I thought you might. This might look like these ranch houses, and this might look like the neighborhood where you grew up. This was like what Japan was like. I was like, wow, thank you so much. They gave me I'm getting choked up about it. It was just like so endearing. These guys were so sweet and cool, and I just had a blast hanging out with them. And as I was riding my motorcycle there, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, what am I should tell? How am I going to introduce? How am I going to tell them my story? Because everybody wants to know, like, how'd you come to Japan, and is your wife Japanese? They all want to know this stuff." So I'm riding there. I'm thinking like, okay, just give them the concise, tell them the thing and how you did the motorcycle, and tell them, and then like you got to tell them a little bit about the photo project. And I mean, my story is so twisty turny, and it's got so many curves in it. But I'm like, don't talk too much, just listen to these guys. Don't talk too much, Brian. Don't fucking talk too much. Just listen. They've got infinitely more knowledge than you have. So fucking listen to these guys, They don't want to hear what you have to say. You should, you want to hear what they have to say. So I kept catching myself being like, okay, don't talk too much, just let's cool it, take a breather. And we got going for about 2 hours, and everybody, and I probably could have gone 4 or 6. And I was like, at about the hour and 50-minute mark, I was like, okay, well, this was a lot of fun. And they were like, oh, you taking off? And I was like, I think it's time. Yeah, it's, I'm going to boogie on. I got things to do today. And they were like, okay, well, thanks for coming by. And I like and then they all stood up, and then I left. And then one other guy, like a latecomer, like showed up. And I just like I fucking nailed it. I nailed the exit. Like I got out of there right at the right moment. And if I'd stayed there 5 more minutes, it would have been too long. It was really fun. Really, really fun. It's just nothing but like a little, conversation, a little hangout, a little salon, a little session, but still it was really cool and really meaningful. Then I got home and I had a bunch of work to do, so I cranked away on some things and I got a whole bunch done. And then I wrote them all thank you letters. And I wrote to the record store guy, hey, it was very nice to meet you. Thanks for, following me and encouraging me. I don't want to oblige you to re-examine this pitch that I made, but in case you're curious about it and it never made its way up to your desk, here's a link to the proposal in case you want to put something together. And there's a whole idea for press a record, publish a book, have an exhibition. There's a big grand idea. And I mentioned, like probably when I pitched this to your guys, it was too overwhelming at the time. And I probably I shot myself in the foot or something because it was just too grand of an idea. But, I'm not expecting you to. I'm going to achieve it on my own, whether or not it's with a collaborator or not. But there it is. In case you want to take it. But it was very nice to meet you, and I really, above everything else, I just want to know a very cool cat. Loved it, and he wrote me back a really nice note, and it was like, "Hey, wonderful to meet you. I want to introduce you to another guy. We'll bring you into the fold and something else." Then I wrote to the workshop mood dude. And man, he wrote me the most poetic reply, and he said something like, the message was like, oh man, I don't even know if I can say it. It was so sweet. He just said like, you know how you can see like sometimes when you look at people in a certain light, you can see the face of their 6-year-old self, or maybe their 66-year-old self or their 86-year-old self. You know how you can just sometimes you can just get a glimpse of, oh, that's what this person's going to look like 30 years from now or 30 years ago. I just saw in his face like us as peers or us as like 20 something year olds. I could see this. I didn't see age anymore, you know? I mean, despite he's probably, I mean, what he did those records when that was over 71. And he was probably 20, and he talked about how he took him 1 minute to do the font, to 1 minute. He said, those markers that have the things? And I said, yeah. And he said, it took me 1 minute. I just wrote it out like that. And he said, look at the back. And he just told me these like really cool details about it. And about a couple of the records. And he fucking did Hosono House. He did one of the most iconic records in all of, Japan rock. It was like, I can't believe it. He did Hosono House. I just like, you can't believe it. I mean, Harry Styles, Harry's House, that's his record that came out. That record from Japan is influencing, inspiring artists 50 years later. It's really amazing. And I brought my Tulsa book, my Larry Clark Tulsa book, because I knew they were going to be like, where are you from? And I wanted to say, I'm from Tulsa, because Tulsa is like it's in their Rolodex. It's in there somewhere. They know about it. So I brought Larry Clark's Tulsa, and I said, I'm from Tulsa. And they're like, oh, shit. You know the Hosono Cop? And I'm like, I know. And they're like, oh, that's why you brought the book. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, that's nice, good, solid, okay, good. And I was like, I got a couple other things I want to show you. I pulled out a few other things, and I brought I saw in this bookstore that I went and checked out. Hey, Rob, nice to see you, dude. I saw you did your vinyl, what are we calling it? The nearly official, the unofficial, I saw you. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm just streaming in the middle of the night. Anyway, I just was excited, and I don't know if I'll make a video about it, but I kind of want this one to go under the radar a little bit. I'm happy to be streaming it publicly, but I'm probably going to put it behind the. I'm going to take it off of public. I know that these guys aren't watching this right now, and I don't think I need to gush over them uh, publicly. I mean, I don't think they'd care, but I just like I don't want to embarrass myself. But it was like it was fun. It was a fun hang. And what else? There was something else I was talking about. Lost my train of thought. I met some really cool cats today. My senpais, the old dudes older than me, guys who are running things, just running things here in Tokyo. They're like part of they're influencers. They're guys who made the culture. And anyway, I was saying that like Manabe-san, I just I he said to me like life is so short. I don't want to hang out with people who are uncool. And age doesn't matter, and where you're from in the world doesn't matter. I just want to hang out with cool people. And I said, "How am I doing?" He said, "I don't know yet." And I was like, "Ah!" And then he said another part. He was like, "I was just tripping through some Japanese," and he was like, "How long you been here?" And I said, "I'm sorry, 20 years." He was like, he was just like razzing me like he would, buddy. I was very, very. He was very warm, very, very warm, and he said, um, I love Lowell George. I love music. I'd love to tell you about all the music that I know about and all the music that I love." And I said, "I'd love to fucking hear about it, man. We should hang out again." He was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Music isn't my only thing. I also fish. I'm a fisherman." I was like, "Oh, cool, man." I got Fisher. I never mentioned this on my channel before, but my grandfather has he was an engineer. He was an engineer, and he's got like several patents for fishing reels. He designed some interesting fishing stuff, and he worked for a very prominent company in America doing fishing stuff. And it's actually, interestingly enough, connected to the war. I mean, you guys know Zebco. Zebco is a very prominent fishing brand, and Zebco was the zero degree bomb company before it was fishing rods and reels. Anyway, he said, "Zebco, oh, your grandfather's Zebco." I said, he is not Zebco, but he designed under Zebco, and he's even, some of his designs are still in production. And I've even been out fishing before, and I've had people spot my reels, and they've been like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "Oh, this is private reserve." And they're like, how is that for sale? Would you consider selling that? No, no. But I've had a couple of people I've been out fishing in rivers in Colorado, and people have spotted me with stuff. Anyway, I may get a chance. He said, "Let's go, let's hang out." I love he wrote me the sweetest poetic message, and he said like, "Let's meet again someday, and who knows, maybe we'll go fishing." So maybe I can go fishing with these old timers. It was really groovy. And then what's crazy and why I'm here at the supermarket, you guys want to come with me to the supermarket? I don't think you do, but no, I'm not going to bring you to the supermarket. I got to get out of here. But I got a client for the Tokyo taxi service tomorrow. He's like, "I know it's last minute, but can you make it happen?" I was like, "You like full out?" And he's like, "Let's do it." And I was like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., like the full thing. And he's like, "Yep." And so I've been preparing a itinerary all night, and that's why I'm up so late. And now I'm at the supermarket because don't tell anybody, but I like to like Uberify this experience. I've never taken it. Well, that's not true. But I've never like Uber happened after I left America. We have Uber here, but it's different. It's like tax. It's just a taxi driver, and it's just branded as Uber. But I've never like got in a car with a stranger. But I hear that they have like mints and water bottles, and you can music. I don't know what you can do, but I imagine this sort of like silly you know service where you get a mint on your pillow of the this kind of thing. So I like to these guys who I brought with me on these record tours, I get them a few little things. You know, I get them a little present from the shop. I won't even tell you what it is because I want to. If you come and do it, I want to surprise you. And but it's very nice, and it's a nice little soft landing. It breaks some ice, and it's fun. And then I get like just some Pretz and some Pockies and some canned coffees and some waters, and it's all in a little cooler. And hey, man, it's go for it. And then they're like, oh, okay. I want people to walk away from it being like, okay, that wasn't just ad hoc. There was some actually forethought put into this, and so it's worth staying up late to do it, but I do have to get to sleep because I have a fucking 6 a.m. wake up time. I'm gonna get 2 or 3 hours of sleep tonight, but that's okay. All right, I just wanted to recap that because I don't know if I'll get it. I may revisit this story again in an actual like canon video, but for now, that was my live stream. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, Grass in the house. What's up, dude? Hi, B, loving my gift package. Cheers, dude. Glad you like me too, Grass. Man. I tell you something, Grass. I picked up like a dead stock copy of the Pod. I got the Pod on wax. Just yesterday it arrived, and I listened to the CD. Somehow the record. I was like, "Is this the same track? Is this the same song list?" And man, the Pod. You had said the Pod is like your favorite record, man. The Pod's so good. It's so good. I forgot how good it is, and I've listened to it twice since it arrived. I mean, since the CD arrived, Care of You, and I just didn't hit like it did when I got the wax playing. It was really great. But I got the CDs in the car, so it's definitely it will be appreciated. Don't worry about that at all. I'm glad you're enjoying your thing. What? So good. I know, dead stock. I ordered from Amazon. I was like, just sometimes you just got to take a chance. Like, there's not anything hiding on there, is there? And there was for fucking dirt cheap too. And it said it's gonna take like 2 months to deliver it. I was like, oh, okay. It's one of those situations where they don't actually have it. They just say they have it, but they don't. I'm like, why should it take them or a month, not 2 months, but a month to send? And sure enough, a month later, it showed up. I can't believe it. Pod rules. I agree. And Rob, thanks for being here. I think I went back and I did watch all of the Northern Revolution. If you're still around, Rob, I watched the stream. I like to catch up on them, and I loved the fucking game show. You guys have to put Racer Records on your subscriber list for sure. Racer Records, Joe at Racer Records hosted like Jeopardy-ish show on, and it was all slick. He had all this like he was like, you could be like, I want the 90s for $1,800. The clue is, and it all worked. It was all really slick and cool. I want to join. I just can't. The timing sucks. Jimmy disc press. Yeah, it's the what do they call it? The fuchsia brown press. I don't know. Probably the most recent one. Fuchsia brown, I think it's called. And Zedzuko, man, and Yornimer, if you happen to catch this, you guys really kind of saved me this morning. So I really appreciated that. Thank you so much. I had a really amazing, cool day today. And now I got to go get some coffees and some Pockies and maybe a midnight snack. I'm kind of hungry. Okay. I feel I have to do the Canadian vinyl tag. Oh, yes, you do. You definitely do. I should do the Canadian vinyl tag. I'm quarter Canadian. I don't know if you know this, Grass, but I'm quarter Canadian. I like to brag. All right, guys. See you on the next one in the 24 hours, maybe. I'll see you again. All right. Bye for now. Peace out.